Republic of South Sudan.
9th July 2011. After over 2 decades of a brutal civil war, the youngest nation in the world was born. Hope and excitement filled the air as the people's dream of peace and prosperity would finally be realized. Two years later, those dreams were shattered.
It's a pity for the people of South Sudan that after 22 years or more than that of struggling to get our own independence and our own country, that we felt that we will enjoy and develop it. And then a few years down the line, we South Sudanese again start fighting among ourselves. It's a pity indeed. All the aspirations, the conflict that is started has again shattered away the ambitions.
For 25 years, South Sudan had experienced a civil war waged between southern rebels and the Khartoum government. Finally, in July 2011, South Sudan separated from neighboring Sudan and gained its independence. This was a major turning point, as it was hoped that this would finally lead to a new lease of life for the people of the South. In December 2013, the hopes and dreams of the people of South Sudan were dashed when the country erupted into a brutal armed conflict between government forces led by President Salva Kiir and the then Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar. The fighting took a bitter ethnic dimension, spreading like wildfire, where fighters carried out scores of killings, rapes, and widespread burning and pillage of civilian property. This led to a major humanitarian crisis where 2.5 million people were uprooted from their homes. Today, hundreds continue to flee their homes, seeking shelter in UN camps.
The things was began on Saturday in the evening in Gera Jebel, and then we have just had the gunshot. We managed to sleep at home. Then on Sunday in the morning, they have reached to our area in Mengaten. Then when they have reached to Mengaten, we have seen that fight it won't be just only soldiers, but it will also goes to civilian.
Rhoda was staying with her dad in Juba when disaster struck. She managed to run for her life to the safety of a UN camp.
I came to Juba for a holiday. Then we talked with my dad and he had agreed to take me to university. And I joined university for only 1 year and the money went off. I didn't complete it. My dad was preparing for me to go back, but the crisis happened and we all broke. There is no money for me to go back to school. It's affected me a lot because let me just say, before crisis happened, I never been far from my family. When I finish my school, I want to come and work. Let me just say, I want to just come and work for 1 year, and I get a good husband and get married because I always like to be a good mother in the future. When I'm here, I don't think that I will achieve anything because this thing here is also hiding dreams. Because when you feel like doing something and it is not happening in the same time, it cannot make you happy. This place here, you cannot achieve your dream, but you can live. Okay, for us who are living here in IDP camp, I can say that there is hope because everything happened and everything has an end. It's like when you're a child, you are born and you begin from all the process until you become a big. Maybe the fight will stop and we'll all be happy and we will go ahead with our life.
In the midst of its own civil war, South Sudan hosts 266,000 refugees, majority of whom cross the border from Sudan. Ajuang Tok refugee camp shelters thousands of refugees from the Nuba Mountains in Sudan displaced by ongoing fighting between Sudanese government forces and Nuba rebels.
When the war broke out in Nuba Mountain, the government of Sudan tried to bomb our village with the Antonov, the Aya Street, and the big guns, and they destroyed all our property, our schools, our hospitals, and all the things. People escape from the village to the mountains, and they end up staying in the caves, and nowhere to go. I'm called Samson Yunan Fachali. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Sudan. I'm in Ajuang Tok because of war in my country. Because before the war, I was grown up in my family. I've been staying with them peacefully. I continued with my school. But when the war broke out, I escaped and then we separated now. I have 1 year and 3 months fully without seeing them. Where are they now? And I'm not getting information about them. In the sport, I like football much because it is helping me in body feeding. I can run and move, and it attracts me with my colleague from different places. When I go for a game somewhere, I can get some people from different places. Then from there we know each other, and really it is give me more fresh and fresh my mind. I forgot what was happening to me in Nuba Mountain at least. The gift of Jesus Christ or Jesus' power over things. Education is very important because the world of nowadays, if you're not educated, I don't think you'll serve your people. My hope in future, I first want to go for my further study. After I finish my further study, I wish to be a journalist, an eye of people, reporting the problem that people are facing in the community. I'm joining the rebel, I'm fighting now. The difference is that I'm not fighting with a gun, but I'm using a pen. But Jesus was sent by God to come and die on the cross. This is my dad photo. In Nuba Mountain, he is inside his farm. This is his farm. And here is my colleagues in Nuba Mountain. Here is my group from Photo Journalists. And here is some photos that I'm taking. And here again is photo for my learners in the schools. This is all what I'm doing. The most thing that I miss my mom and father because I have not stayed with them. And the love of mother and father, I have missed it. I miss it really.
The refugees who are coming here are also being affected. Unfortunately, they become double affected. They left the country because of the war. Reaching here, they find these other countries fighting. So they are like left in dilemma with no choice. Seeing back home is a problem. If you go back, it has become a problem. Living here also, there is no settlement. South Sudan is not stable, back home is not stable.
In neighboring Kenya is Kakuma refugee camp. Here, 47,000 South Sudanese refugees seek refuge from the war back home. In 2011, many made their trip back to resettle and rebuild their homes. However, as soon as the war broke out, the exodus repeated itself, with thousands returning back, often trekking hundreds of kilometers, risking their lives from insecurity and starvation. When John Lual left Kakuma to return home in 2012, he did not imagine that war would force him back across the border again so soon.
On 15, when the war broke up, I went back to Juba. I was arrested at the airport. They took me for investigation. I was tortured. They even broke my teeth. So the people whom I met in the prison, there were like 600 boys, and they're young. Maybe you can just find some of them, they're like 35, 34, and maybe 40. By the day they were taking us, it's a friend of mine who helped me. He changed me in the sack of soil. That is me, and that's how he escaped me out. There was a lot of job vacancy, so if I go there and then like I go with a certificate of home, I can get a good job, because people are not too well educated there. So you are marketable when you know English. My coming to Kakuma is only God to save my life. By the time I spent 1 month, we were 600. I left only 26 guys who are alive. They betrayed me a lot. My brother, I was the one who used to help him because he's having diabetes. So I used to support him. You know, actually, my joining rebel, it won't help me. Because whatever you are fighting, you're only fighting for 2 people. And if you have been killed like today, do you think that you'll be known? You'll not be known. You'll just die like a dog.
Do you hope to go home if the country stabilizes?
No. Maybe after 20 years.
UNHCR, also known as the UN Refugee Agency, plays a vital role in South Sudan. The volatile and insecure environment makes it complicated and sometimes prevents adequate humanitarian access. Despite the challenges, UNHCR manages to protect and support refugees inside South Sudan.
First of all, South Sudan is a young country that gained independence in 2011 after a long conflict with the North. The country is in a way very similar to Korea, which remains a divided nation and is technically still at war. The children smiles welcoming a foreigner innocently, and their lovely singing voices. Although they were beautiful, many things crossed my mind, as I could not help but think about the pain they will go through as they reach the age when they will understand the reality. In my knowledge, a delivery room is where the hygiene and sanitation are maintained at their top standard. Of course, the delivery room was operated in the cleanest possible manner in the camp, but in my view, it still lacked facilities, medical supplies and medicines. At the clinic, the premature babies were facing additional problems in nutritional supplies. It was sad to see all this.
In August 2015, there was a glimmer of hope when both warring leaders signed a peace deal to end the conflict. Sadly, both parties continue to violate the peace agreement, and sporadic fighting continues. A war that spiraled out of deep political differences will take a long time to heal and recover.
we are staring at the South Sudan, talking to those who were with me in Addis Ababa for quite a while. I think they've realized what their mistake is. And I think they want to go back and make a difference from both sides. Both of them want to go and make a difference. They will only make a difference if they are not going to be competing of who is going to be in control.
At the moment, we are all holding our chest to say that the peace agreement which was signed recently holds. Because if the peace is not holding, it will be difficult for these people to return to their place of origin.
Africa's youngest state was born in the flames of civil conflict. Is there any spark of hope for South Sudan? This hope lies in the young people who want a life of peace and opportunity. Opportunity to go to school, earn a living, to provide for their families, and to see their country thrive.
I will speak from the deepest bottom part of my heart as a South Sudanese. Yes, there is hope for South Sudan, in a sense that my generation will not sit and watch this country to be handled by politicians who are just greedy for power. We're hoping that we the youth or the young generation will engage our politicians to say that enough is enough. We need to be like Kenya. We need to be like South Africa. We need to be like the United States. We need to be like South Korea. We need to be a manufacturing country. We need, in fact, if we are farmers, if we are to cultivate or produce food, we will even end up feeding Kenya or Uganda at one point. But today we are importing food, not because we are less people. South Sudanese people are hardworking people, but the situation cannot allow South Sudanese people to prosper. So for people to prosper and develop, there must be peace. Politicians must accept, change of government, rule of law, good governance. Some of these things must happen. So we feel that we, the generation of South Sudan, the young generation, we would like our politicians to have this country in their heart.
To be a refugee is just like you are in prison. That's self-prison. Life prison is that when you are in the refugees, you are not allowed to do all things that you are feeling to do. Because wherever you do, the people of the land are always saying you are just a refugee. The name itself, it gives you fear. It cannot let you to do what you want to do. Because the name refugees alone is not matter that you are refugees. You are just a refugee because of the problem in your place. That's why you escape, you come to other country.
My dream the first dream that I'm having right now is just to pray God and to make our country to be a peaceful country, so that we can just go, when it becomes peaceful, everybody will be dreaming of what to do. But right now we are not hoping of anything, but we are just hoping for peace.